All right, little Honda bros, this is a universe question. You know, which one of these aligns with the universe? Is it the Spoon SW388 in matte black? Is it the Desmond Regamaster Evo, you know, in whatever this greenish gunmetal finish is? So we're going to answer that here today. These are two different offsets, two different sizes. So we'll talk about all of that. We're going to put them on the car. I'm going to adjust camber and height and figure out what it needs to be. I don't know that these are even going to fit, and I know that these will, but do they fit well? Does this greenish hue look weird with the blue? We're going to answer all those questions. So which one is it? Or is it neither? I don't know. We're going to answer that. I know that these are sort of a love-hate wheel. If you're not a little Honda bro, I guess I'm a big Honda bro, but if you're not a big or little Honda bro, you're looking at these saying, what are you, an idiot? These wheels are terrible. But if you are a little Honda bro, then you know that these are like iconic. Now the Spoon wheel has changed over the years. I think it has a different manufacturer. I forget, maybe somebody in the comments can cue me into, did Desmond make the wheels for Spoon? What's the history? What's the relationship there? Why are these wheels like this? Maybe you can answer in the comments, because I don't know. I just know I always wanted them. I always knew that if I ever got one of these cars, I knew that I would buy both of these. I also knew that I probably wouldn't like either one of them on the car, but I have to do this. This is like a requisite. This was like, other than putting a JDM Type R engine in this car, this was like the requisite test. This is the video I had in mind of which wheel would you want. So let's put them on the car. We're going to do the Regamasters first. I haven't put any of the logos or stickers or anything on them yet, but I do want to test fit and see if it's something that's going to stay with the car as an option or not. So let's move to the side of the car and get working on install. Okay, let's do Regamasters first. Just grab the one off the table here and put this on. Now, this size, so these are from ICB, matted ICB Motorsports. I ordered these about 4 months ago. It just came in. He had ordered probably 50 or 60 or 100 sets of wheels in order to get this done. Let's see how light this is. And so these are a 16-inch wheel by 7-inch wide by plus 38 millimeter offset. And I'm putting the racing lugs, the titanium lugs. I don't know, the Spoon ones I don't think would look very, very good with these. I don't believe, I'm pretty certain there's no center cap option for this, or the Spoons do have a center cap. I'll show you that. So I painted the hub here. But I put a Bridgestone RE71R 205 45 16 on these wheels. We could probably squeeze on a plus 38 offset. I could probably squeeze a 215, but I didn't want to chance it. I've gone too aggressive on too many of the tires, and I'm going to have too many extra tires sitting around to do nothing with. I guess to sell at a discount to everybody. We'll be selling off some tires. So I'm gaining 3 millimeters of offset because the Spoon caliper needs a 3 millimeter hub spacer. And so really that makes these a, what does it be, a plus, I guess it would be directly proportional, right? So if they have 3 millimeters extra, it should add to, or I guess subtract from the positive offset. So we go from 38 to 35. So it would theoretically make this a 35 millimeter offset. I don't know how this is set up. I've been kind of test fitting a bunch of wheels. So we may come back, we're going to put this on the ground. We may come back and do some camber, just some loose, you know, fumbly camber adjustment. I'm going to have to go get an alignment done once I figure out what the plan is here for the wheels. But we'll also maybe adjust the ride height a little bit here. The thing I'm figuring out is I have so many different wheel and tire sizes. So I have 205s, 215s, 225s. I also have 205 15 wheels with a 50 sidewall. These are 45 sidewall. I have wheels with a 40 sidewall that have a plus 35 16x8. So I got all these different sizes. I was hoping I could find a nice happy medium ride height and camber adjustment, but that's not going to be the case. So I'm really going to have to pick a set of wheels and set the car up for it. And then decide which wheels fit, which ones don't. The ones that don't fit will sell off, but the ones that do fit will probably, you know, provide with the car because they're going to be giving this thing away. So the Evo, they do give you where to put the stickers, and it comes with, I would want to do this in the coating and cleaning and prepping process. So if I was going to put the stickers on, I probably will. It's just sort of iconic for these wheels. But if I'm going to do the put the stickers on, I'll decon these, clean them up, you know, use some eraser to get all the residue and all the soap from mounting off. Then we would put the sticker on and then we would coat it. So these haven't been coated, denibbed, or anything like that yet. So that's, you know, essentially what it would look like. So let's put the rear on too, and then let's put the car on the ground and see what it looks like. I'm telling you, these lugs, these racing lugs are freaking amazing. They give you what is this thing called? Socket. So it's a very specific Torx type, specific size socket. But the beauty of it is, you know, like my spoon ones are getting kind of beat up from me taking wheels on and off. This doesn't damage the lugs at all. It doesn't really contact the lugs especially on the outside. It only contacts on the inside. It has a preset depth where the bit goes into a certain distance and sits in there nice, flush and tight, so you can tighten your lugs without scratching them up. Now, what are they, like $800 or something like that? But they're freaking worth every penny if you ask me. So if you have a really awesome build like this, then I think you're going to want those lugs. I know that they're the lugs that are going to end up on this car. I guess the only way that they wouldn't end up on the car is if the spoon wheels end up being the wheels on the car, which I doubt. I got my new rear rotors. I'm going to put those on today. I also got the spoon 3mm spacer in today, so we're going to finish the brakes and bleed them so I can start driving this car around, figuring out what wheels fit. The fenders are slightly rolled. Me and Tony did them a few months ago, but they need to be rolled more, and I had them do a relief cut. We didn't publish that video because you guys would have lost your freaking minds seeing what you have to do to roll a fender. But I'm going to send it down to Michael Good, who's a metal wizard, and hopefully roll them flat. So my guess is we're going to find on the spoons that they don't fit very well yet, but we may be able to get them fit. So I think I'll probably be able to get them fit in the rear, but I don't know about the front. We'll talk about that once we get them on the car. I'm just loosely torquing. The car's not going anywhere. I'm just going to set it on the ground. So if you haven't watched the suspension series, we have a Moton 3-way coilover, a bunch of hard race stuff. Yeah, the suspension is really, really sick. Can't wait to drive it around and see what it feels like. Before I do that, let me put this hood does not like to go up and down with the car. It's too light. I'm hoping John can get this to fit a little better. There's a little wonkiness. It goes down to John and LHT here shortly. Oh yeah, height looks good. Camber looks pretty good. I don't know, what do you guys think? That greenish hue doesn't look as bad as you'd think, right? That height's pretty sick, but I wonder if that would rub. I wonder what that setup's like. Let's check our tire pressures. It's nothing better than having air on demand at all four corners of the car. This is like the freaking coolest tire gauge ever. It's a PCL Acura 1. You want one of these. Even if you're a little Honda bro, it'll hook up to pretty much any air compressor. You just put a different plug on it. I like the Chuck version versus the snap-on version. Gives you a reading. Oh yeah, I already fixed this one. So that's 32. We went 35 front. 35 front, 33 rear is the boom. It's amazing, these little baby tires, they fill up in 2 squeezes of air. Baby 16s. I don't know, little Honda bros, what do you think? I know Kyle likes them. Very bland, very boring, but very JDM style. I guess I already did check the pressures on these. We have these in the store. You want to get this thing. It's freaking awesome. Is it like 130 bucks or something like that? So, I think I would want, I probably want to come up a little bit in the front. You know, I just don't love 205s on this car. I mean, 205s kind of are what fits. Its stock is 195, but see, we're not super, I would want to come out more with my camber, I think, which I can do with our camber adjustment in order to get it a little bit more flush. I like the height. I might come up a little bit. The suspension is settled a little bit. I think the rear height is good. This looks like it will clear. And that's why we really need to get this fender rolled flat. Because under full compression, you know, it's going to camber in. So we might be safe. But I don't know, I'm not gonna, you get the idea here of what this looks like. I can't take it outside yet because I don't have any brakes. So this is what you're gonna get. But I think you get a pretty good idea. Certain angles of this car looks great, certain angles look terrible. It's kind of like a Mustang. You know, like GT350, some of the angles look awesome. Some of them look not my favorite. Okay, so you get the idea on the Regamasters. Now, let's remove these. And if you are getting aggressive wheels like the Spoons are, then if you aren't familiar with your suspension, you will be by the end of trying to get them to fit. I don't think they're going to fit on this unless I ride really tall, and I don't want to do that. So I think that they're going to be too big, and I probably should have put squeezed 205s on them. So I should, if I want the Spoons to fit, so if we decide that those are wheels that I really want, then, you know, we're probably going to have to go down to a 205 tire because I have a 215 on it. But first thing we're clearly going to have to do, I'm going to have to bring the car up a bit. It's a little too low even for the Regamaster. The suspension started to kind of settle in. I left it sit, you know, for a few days on the ground. So the springs have started to kind of settle. And so the car's sitting a little lower, but I've been up and down and left and right and adjusting camber and all kinds of crazy stuff on this thing the last few days. Buying new tires, trying different configurations, because you know, I haven't had one of these in 20 years, 18 years, and a lot of that information that you used to have isn't available, right? So we don't have readily available information to just say, hey, let me just go here and this will tell me exactly what to do. We've been using some wheel and tire calculators and stuff, but until you actually physically do it, it's kind of hard to know. So these wheels, again, the finish is really going to be super, super finicky. It makes sense to put the Spoon lugs on the Spoon wheels. So I don't think that these wheels, I'm pretty sure these are different than the original design. But this is Spoon. I bought these from Nengen in Japan. They showed up in a couple of months. I think that they'll actually clean up really nicely. They were extremely hard to mount because of this, like, it's not even a matte finish. It's like beyond matte. It's like, I don't know, spray painted. Going to be super, super sensitive. There's a little nick on here. I think I hit it with my fingernail. So these aren't going to hold up particularly well, I don't think. But I do think they'll look really nice if I coat them and get the tires dressed and all that, which they're not right now. So, actually, while we have this on here, we're going to have to come up. I should have shown you that beforehand. But what I'm going to do is turn up. So I have a gray line. So what I always do is take a paint marker and make a line on the collar, you know, or the perch of the coilover. And so then I can count how many turns. So I'm going to go up 5 turns on this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns I found is about, you know, it's not quite a 1/4 inch of height. So these wheels are 16 by 7.5 plus 30. The other option on these was 16 by 7 plus 48, which would have been super sunk. So, you know, they don't have a great offset option. And I see, even like on Nengan side, they took down, they don't even have the 16 by 7.5 plus 30. So these, I think, will fit if you really didn't mind making some serious fender modifications, but I don't think these are going to fit without running some broke looking camber. I'm not a broke camber kind of guy. So I'm gonna need to camber this in as well. And so the way that the camber works on this, there are four bolts on top that you need to loosen up. On top of the upper control arm here. And I know this isn't exact, I'm just eyeballing it. I'm just eyeballing it just to kind of see what will fit and what won't, and then we'll go get like a true alignment done once I figure out what wheels are going to be on the car for all my testing and stuff. I've got about a month before it needs to go down to John at LHT to get the motor done, so I've got some time to be playing with the setups and at least getting the suspension set up enough so they can drive onto the trailer. I guess we can push it on there. And so there's a relationship between camber and toe, and you notice if I push in, the wheel kind of cocks in like this, so I'd actually have to, if I really wanted to do this properly, see how it's towing in. So my toe arm's set up a little bit long. I would need to shorten it up here, but just for the purposes of this test, I'm gonna bring it in and kind of eyeball it. Now, as it sits on the ground, it's gonna camber in a little more, but I need to go about as aggressive as this can allow me. And so, if I, you know, before I take it out on the road, I would adjust the toe a little bit too. But this is what you'd become intimately familiar with if you're going to do this kind of thing, where you're buying 3 or 4 sets of wheels, trying to figure out how to do it. It's been a long time since I've done this a few times in my life. I'm trying to think of what car I've kind of played with, just eyeballed camber and toe. I think it's my S2000 back in the day. Maybe not. Maybe it was a buddy's car. I don't think I've ever done this. Or we just kind of started fumbling with camber to see how to get it to fit. So these wheels are the only ones that have the proper hub size. So this is a 56.1 millimeter hub size. So this is the only wheel that I have where I wouldn't, you can see just even like little finger touches kind of mark these things up, and you can wipe it off. But this is the only wheel that has a proper hub size where I don't need to run a hub spacer. So these do have a option to pretty it up a little bit. No one here at HQ likes these wheels, but I don't know, I kind of dig them. It's kind of odd that it's a gloss black center cap. There we go. That does look pretty good, doesn't it? At least up in the air it does. Problem is I don't think it's going to fit. The other thing I don't love is I don't love the other extra holes, I guess, to lighten it up. Well, I guess it does line up nicely. It looks okay with the Honda spoon bigger rotor. Problem is that rotor is going to rust eventually. Let's check our tire pressure here. So this is a 215 45/16, which again, if these do end up making the cut, I don't think that this is going to work. Jeez, it fills up so fast. All right, so let's do the rear, and we'll have to camber in the rear as well. I'm going to come up 5 turns in the rear as well. I've never been so gentle with a set of lug nuts in my life as I have with these titanium. It's a doors open kind of day here in Central Florida. Except for this door. They're doing too much work around here and messing up my talks. So the finish, the fit and finish of the Regamasters is much, much better. Let me rephrase that. So if we're talking just cleanliness of the milling and all of that, they're both very nice. It's just that this clear-coated powder-coated finish, I'm assuming these are powder-coated, on the Regamasters is much, much nicer. These are going to clean up beautifully. I just don't love this green color on the blue car. It's a little too hot boy for me. All right, let's do, let me show you how this works here. All right, so these are real man coilovers. These aren't janky hot boy coilovers where they have a cup, right? And so there's a single height and preload adjustment. There's not, you don't like turn it inside of the cup like you would with some cheapos. And so the helper spring helps make sure that you maintain preload on the suspension. So you can see the spring is under tension, the spring is under load, but there's no like, we're just setting ride height here. There's no like, there's no specific specification for how much preload you should have on the suspension. So again, I painted a little silver line here, if you can see that, Mike. There's a little silver line painted. And I have that painted so I can count the revolutions. The other option is you could just measure the body, but I find when I'm doing all these adjustments, it's easier to just count, and then I would go back and measure, you know, the distance, and then we'll measure the heights, because the car doesn't always sit perfectly straight or perfectly level. When we're on the alignment rack, that's when we'll go and we'll double check our fender heights and stuff like that, and make sure it's all even. So I want to come up, I'm going to come up 5 turns. And it's, you know, that's not under so much tension that I can just do it by hand. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 5. So 5 turns up. Now also keep in mind that I've been playing with the left side here. Yes, the left and right side will, you know, if the right side is a lot higher or lower, it'll affect it. But just for this purpose, you know, we just want to see what they look like. Then I'll go back and put all 4 wheels on that all match, and then set the heights the same, and then start playing with camber and all of that. So now I found it easier. So the way to adjust camber on the rear is the toe arm. And so I have the toe arm loose here because I've been playing with different wheel setups. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the wheel on, and then I'm going to just turn this and kind of see where the wheel is sitting. It's just I need enough clearance for it to fit flush. Or I guess this is going to be too hefty of an offset to sit flush. Dang, these look good without the center caps. See right now, you can see how much the Regamaster was like in here. This is sitting super, and we get tons of poke. Break the fender in half if we try to drive the thing. The beauty of being on a scissor lift is I can come up and down and see the car from the side and really assess it, and very simply, very quickly move it up so I can readjust. So I don't think that these wheels, either one of these will be the one. The question is, are they the third or the fourth or the fifth that stay with the car for the next owner? The winner of the raffle, or the winner of the giveaway, you have to call it, to be able to fit on the car if they won. All right, so I'm going to turn in camber here. Come off my bolts here. Make sure I loosen them up. So in order to get this to fit, I'm going to have to do broke boy, hot boy, hella flush camber. Or it's going to look like the wheel's freaking broken. That's the problem. And so the only hope I would have for this plus 30 is to do a 205 and stretch it. And I'd probably end up needing to do a 205/40, which I put on the TEs. And I think it looks terrible. All right, so let's see. There's a happy balance on this car between meat and sidewall. Or, meat and too little sidewall, I should say. All right, moment of truth. I haven't put both of these on the car yet to see how they do, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to fit. So definitely need to come up more. Well, it fits a little better than I thought. So if we roll the fender flat, these are going to fit. But look at freaking the front. Look at that broke camber thing. Freaking got like 4 degrees of camber sitting here. It's still going to rub at that. I hate that look. So you guys, when we'll bring the camera back here and show you. But I hate that heavy camber look on these cars. So I think if we put a 205 tire on this, it might actually work. It does look pretty good with that center cap on there and those new rotors. The only good part about the camber, the super aggressive camber, is it's equal front and rear. So it's super aggressive both front wheel and rear wheel. So I think it could, if you like that style. You're going to eat up tires, but I mean, how many miles is somebody really going to be putting on this car? You're not going to want to drive this and park it at the club overnight because it's going to disappear, guaranteed. So, what do you guys think? Spoon, Regamaster, or neither? Before I made this video, I was neither on both. But I think what needs to happen here, and I knew I wouldn't be able to make this conclusive for you here today. I think I need to take these tires off of the Regamasters and the tires off the spoons and flip-flop them. So I need to put the 215s on here on the Regamasters and the 205s on the spoons, which is going to stretch quite a bit because that's a 7.5. You can see there's already a little stretch on these, the Bridgestones. I actually was going into this thinking there's no way. We have to run some pretty aggressive camber. I'll be able to bring some of that camber out when I do smaller sidewalls or stretch sidewall, same size sidewall roughly, but stretch it. I don't know, what do you think? Although these probably aren't going to be the ultimate wheel setup for me on this car, I think we can make it work. The question is, can I make it work without having to get a new alignment every time we put a new set of wheels on? My guess is it'll have to be a full alignment setup. So we'll have some more wheel and tire setup videos. What I'm going to do here now this afternoon is I'm going to finish the brakes I'm going to wait to do the roll center adjusters and do those after I get the brakes done and able to drive around and see how the car feels. But I may do the roll center adjusters as well. But I'm going to keep playing with camber and toe, and I do need to adjust the toe. It's a little toe in right now, so I bring the rear, so bring the front toe out, but bring the tie rods in a little bit to straighten that up. And of course, we'll play with it more on the alignment rack. I wonder if removing this fender liner is going to be necessary. You know, what's the happy medium between modifying, making it look good, making it handle well, but not chopping and cutting too much. You know, the rear fenders need to be rolled more. That's very clear to me. And I'm hoping to get away without having to do some significant paint work. So anyway, thanks for watching. Spoon, Regamaster, or neither? Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. Catch you on the next one.